You guys nailed that, by the way.
We've got our process.
Chris, we're live.
Got all the way to
We're
Jules
live.
and-
Okay.
All right, we're good?
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order at 7:05. And I actually do have a slight amendment to the agenda. We just need to add 2A for an approval of the agenda. So just an FYI on that. Starting out with the roll call.
Gail Linder for the second time.
Adam Wallace.
Chris Gombieski.
Brandon Moyenbaum.
Still David Schwartz.
Will Zolzman.
All right, thank you. And approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second? All of those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. And moves to number 3, matter of consideration of home addition at 10084 Ludlow. Would you like to present?
Sure.
Yeah.
Good evening, I'm Scott Kuby.
I'm Paula Kuby.
My wife Paula. You guys
Brian
probably know
Howard.
Brian. He's our architect, another Huntington Woods resident. And over there is our lovely neighbor to the east side, Shirley Malamud, who agreed to so nicely to attend. So we've lived at our house for roughly 34 years. We chose Huntington Woods for its character, the mature trees, like everybody does, the wonderful neighbors that we got with Shirley, raised our 2 kids here, and we're hoping that this will be our forever home. What we're trying to do is our goal is to stay in Huntington Woods, a community that we love, and make thoughtful updates so that the home works for us as we age. My parents are in their 80s, so we also would like the ability, if they need it, to be able to move in, and in the long term for us to be able to stay there. So we want to create a first floor primary bedroom to support that aging in place, attach the garage to reduce the fall risk to weather, and maintain a 4-bedroom home. So you'll see we'll do some stuff a little bit upstairs. And while improving the flow, so it's a little more open, that will make it more wheelchair and accessible as well, should we ever need that, and allow for flexibility for aging parents, like I had mentioned. We very intentionally are working to preserve the character of the home. We love the 1940s home that we have, rather than trying to knock it down and build something back up. We'd rather take the existing structure and add on to that. So we've worked directly with both adjacent neighbors. Shirley is on the east. We showed her the plans. We also shared it with Cohen's, who built that new home that's on our west side. Reviewed the plans with them. Both sets of neighbors have reviewed it and are fine with it. I think you all should have some documentation to that where they approved it. Drainage is addressed through Brian's work, where the flow is directed towards the back of the property, and there's actually a drain in the back there. Materials and design are consistent with the home and the surrounding properties, brick and the appropriate exterior finishes. We're enhancing, not replacing, the existing home to preserve the architectural integrity. The reason that we need a little bit of a variance that will need to go to the zoning board is when they built the home in 1940, we've got a small section that you can see on the first floor. It's really like 33 square feet. That's close to Shirley. And so what we are hoping to do, though, is attach the garage on the west side. So that'll actually create a little privacy for both Cohen's, our neighbors, and us, because it's not going to be inhabited above the garage. And then that way, we're also not having to move the rest of the house even closer to Shirley's property. She's just got that small little section there. So we believe it's, a reasonable, well-considered plan. It has neighbor support. I think it aligns with the character and intent of Huntington Woods, and we appreciate your consideration tonight to hopefully pass it pending zoning board approval.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you coming on a special night today. So,
Duly noted.
yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So there's, I'm going to go through all the regular stuff, but I do want to point out a couple things that might not have, just to be clear. So you see where they garage, and the garage leaves them the 5 foot. So what they've done is they've taken that and made the other side, which would have been 9 or legal non-conforming to have that there, and they put this at the 5 side. It still leaves them 3 foot short either way. But for the zoning board of appeals to consider, that on the 5 side would make more sense than this on the 6, where they have 6 and there was 11, so they need a total of a 3 foot variance. The difference with that is that they need a 3 foot variance for 33 square feet at the front, as opposed to having to redesign the house, slide the garage over, and come around. can you see my cursor up there? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can see where it is, because you can go straight up, straight back from this, so the addition could have gone like this. And the problem with that is that that would shift all the massing to the one side of the house. And with all due respect, the architecture could look compromised because it'd be like weighted to the right side. So that's one of the things. And additionally, the part of that is that they would have to consider the impact of the massing on that side, which would be at a 6-foot side there, that it would impact Shirley. So that's one of the things. So I just want to make sure that those points were clear and as to what thought process did go into that. So having said that, you have a house with a height permitted of 30 feet, proposed is 25 feet, again, 2 stories. Front yard is 30.25 is what's needed. The side yard's minimum 5, total 14. They have 5-foot one side, 11-foot total, so you need the 3-foot variance. So again, that's for the zoning board of appeals to consider, but the answer to that is whether or not you think they'll get the variance for the 33 square feet as opposed for a whole, redesign on that. And that's up to you as to what you do with that. But the ZBA would see that. The rear yard is required is 30 feet, it's 36.75. Lot coverage as max permitted is 2812, proposed is 2807, so we are right there on lot coverage. The house size maximum permitted is 2781, and we have proposed 2573, so they are under that. So, where we're at with the lot sizes is they have 75 by 25, again, which is a much larger lot than the Bronx subdivision. It's again a half lot. So they have 9,375 square feet. The one neighbor has 6,250, which is a standard 50 by 125 lot. The other neighbor on the other side has another 75 by 125 lot. So they're consistent with that. The house size to the west neighbor is 2,929 square feet. They're 2,573 as proposed, and the house on the smaller lot is 1,345. So it's also a bungalow, which is typical of the size of bungalows in Huntington Woods. This still qualifies as a bungalow, and the house to the west, which is the bigger house, is a colonial as well. So they have 2 stories. This to the west, this is counted as a 1.75 and 1.25 for the neighbor to the east. Excuse me, the exterior materials on this is brick. Here on the plan, they propose brick and Synergy. Synergy is a synthetic, so it's like a synthetic stucco type material. That's what's called out on the plans. Mr. Howard could address that if he chooses to, but that's not a typical material that we use in Huntington Woods. So that may be open for discussion. The east neighbor is brick. The garage is attached for what they're proposing and also what the west neighbor's proposing. And the bungalow to the east is a detached garage. So they do need the variance in order to implement this, so anything that would be, anything that would have to go would be subject to variance of the zoning board of appeals, any approval that you give tonight. It also appears that the lot relative to the addition placement and the shots that we've been provided with will not drain onto neighboring properties. Other than that, Mr. Chair, I'm open for questions, as I'm sure they are.
Open up the questions to the members of the commission.
To Hank or to the? I have 3 questions. Hank, the garage is 19 feet high, which is permissible if it's an attached garage, whereas if it's a detached,
It
it
would
can
be
only be
60.
16 feet.
Right, if it was attached, you could put a second floor.
Okay. I noticed that you have storage in the garage that appears to be accessible from inside the house. What is it that you're gonna be storing? Is there also a trap in the garage itself for you to take stuff up, or is everything that you're gonna be putting in the garage gonna be a result of what's in the house and not what's in the garage?
So the idea was is that they would have direct access from the second floor into the storage above the garage. So it's not gonna be a pull down stair. The idea is because we're not putting new basement in any of the addition, it's gonna be all crawl space. This was to give them a little bit of additional square footage, which is directly accessible from the second floor.
But it's
Now,
not-
You will be stepping down into that. So the floor elevations are two different floor elevations. So as you go through the closet, you'll go down a couple steps to get to, and to be honest with you, I mean, I wouldn't hit my head, but a guy who's 6'5" would hit their head. So the intent was, it was just additional storage.
Okay, not closet space to be continued on, or quote, undeclared living space of a closet or something like that.
Not at all.
Okay. I notice also in the garage that you happen to have a rear door to go out to the backyard so you can get your patio furniture and things like that, because one of the things about building your house all the way across the lot, and then additionally asking for 3 more feet into the setback, is there isn't a way sometimes to get those things to the backyard, except for to go out that way.
Yep. And also, it also has to do with if landscaping occurs in that 5-foot band that's occurring to the west, this allows mowers and stuff to get out that garage door on the backside.
Okay.
So you're correct, yes.
Owner's mowers, not necessarily
Yeah,
opening your
yeah.
I don't have a
garage
landscape.
for your lawn
Yeah,
service to
no,
go
no,
through
Believe
it.
me.
You know, because that's, my next one I went in steps is, I have a problem with the 3-foot variance that you're requesting. It's getting closer to the next door neighbor's yard. It doesn't leave a lot of room for fire and whoever else needs to get to the backyard if there should be something, because you're close on the one side, the other neighbor is also an attached garage, and you're a detached, and you've said you've lived there for 30 some odd years, and the 3 feet or whatever else that you've got seems to have worked. And other than the window being larger, I can't see a reason for extending into the side setback when you're starting with a clean slate and you don't have to, you know, it's not like you're going on something that's already there and you're asking to go up on it or to continue a line of it. But that's how I feel about the space to the side, that it suffices to stay where it is, and I think that it needs to have the 9-foot. I'm a person who happens to have a detached garage surrounded by people with attached garages, and when Detroit Edison has to come and get to the backyard, whose house do they use but the person who has a detached garage, because they can't get around anybody else, and it's not even from my yard that they're going back there for. So I really see the reason for setbacks to remain, and I don't see a reason for extending another 3 feet. You know, that's how I feel on it.
Any other?
Well, in response to that, it's not our call as to whether they get the variance or not. I mean, it would be your decision if you think that you should vote against the project, but it's up to the ZBA to determine if they get the variance. And I think looking at the project overall, they're taking an older home with unusual configuration and trying to improve it, which improves the house, improves the street, improves the neighborhood. It's good for everybody. With respect to your analogy to DTE, they have an easement. They don't need, they can move right down between, they have an easement. to get
They have an
back.
easement in the back, they don't have it between houses.
They have a right of access to that back there, though. They have a right of access, so, but, I mean, there are certain, the issue for the variance is not in front of us. So it's whether the project, in my opinion, I understand your point, I'm not saying it's not a valid point, it is, but it's not, that's not our call. I mean, other than that, I see everything here being an attempt to not overstep size-wise and trying to work with an unusual configuration and make the most out of it, which is what everybody wants. So I have no problem with the project.
Any other?
And I may have misheard, so I apologize, but Hank, did we get anything in writing from from the neighbors?
We
Yeah.
did, staff has that.
Okay.
And that's recorded.
Okay. It was all favorable? 'Cause I haven't seen anything. I
Yeah,
don't think
it's,
in these-
it's,
in these
it's
materials.
there,
Okay, and it's favorable?
yeah.
Okay.
Both neighbors to each side.
I'll take a quick look, yeah, please. Thank you.
I have a couple questions. First off, I've never heard of I agree with can you explain a little bit about that stucco and how that's gonna look? Is that gonna be like
Yes,
stucco?
it's actually a true stucco product, and I did it on a house in Royal Oak on Greenleaf. And I was a little, the note on the drawing is a little bit incorrect, and that's my apologies on this. It's not a 1-inch foam board with a 1/4-inch stucco finish like Ephes is. It's not that at all. It's actually a 3-coat stucco process. It just doesn't get, it has elasticity in it versus having cement in it, because cement stucco cracks. Well, this does not. It actually moves. And so when you look at the product looks like actually legit stucco. It's just got these compounds in it that allows it to move accordingly when wood moves, you know, in a house. So the note is not correct in the sense that it's not a 1-inch foam board and a little, you know, small amount of stucco on it. And the reason why we wanted the stucco is keeping with the true Tudor look versus going with a hardy siding or going with a hardy panel, and everything looks like board and bat now and all that stuff, right? So we're trying to keep with the authenticity of the actual Tudor itself.
The second question I had is, and this is maybe a consideration of splitting hairs, have you ever thought of doing an extended 1-car garage where you get
A
2
tandem?
cars? A tandem?
We
Gets you
did.
around the
We
variance?
did, and that got eliminated in this plan very quickly. One, because they both use their cars. And when you have a tandem garage, it works fine if you still have 1 car. The problem with the tandem is I gotta back a car out to then back the other car out. So and I've done tandems before, and my clients have never been happy about that at the end of the day. So what we felt was the 3 feet that we're dealing with is an existing condition. So we're not, as Hank stated, we're not extending that 3-foot variance all the way to the infinity or to the back property line. We're only, we pulled the house in specifically because we knew that there was no way we were ever gonna get a 3-foot variance all the way to the backyard. There was no way. So what we did is we pulled that addition in to meet the setback, and we're getting penalized for a 3-foot, which is an existing 1940s condition on this house. Now, we can go and shave that 3 feet off this house and not have to go for a variance at all, but you wouldn't like the look of it, they wouldn't like the look of it, nor would I like the look of it.
Quick question.
Sure.
Where are the easements on this property? Are they,
They're to the back, but they have, DTE has an easement, the utilities always have an easement, they have a right of access. So,
right, but how are they, you're saying from the back, but I don't know there's a road between these houses, is there?
no, this is the
It's a
back
vacant
here.
alley.
So in Huntington Woods, in the Bronx section in particular, there was all alleys. And it was back in the day. So what happened is that when we weren't doing garages off the alleys, when we weren't taking garbage collection, or we weren't doing anything off of that, the city many years ago granted the easements. They kept the easements, but they dissolved the ownership of the property and gave it to the residents.
Right.
So like my lot over here, right, it was technically 116 before I got my half of the alley. So that's the way it was in through here. So, and we've revisited this many times since we've done our sewer lining project, and we've had to get back there. So that's really what it is. So as far as the easement, they exist. As far as getting to the easement, they have a right to get to their easement. The alternative to that is not, you know, it's like, what, I'm not gonna fix your electrical, or I'm not gonna let your sewer work, you know? So, They do, and it's kind of a thing where it is documented, but it also is understood that we have to get through there. Now, what Brian was saying is correct, and what actually Gail and Jules were saying. If a utility has to get back there, if fire has to get back there, they will get back there. If there's a fire, our fire trucks they're all trained on this. So they will get back there. That's not really a concern. A lot of times what'll happen is if they have trouble getting in from, say, this side, they'll go around and come in from the back. So there are ways to do that, and that typically has not been a concern in Huntington Woods. Particularly since all these line up right next to the.
They would go on Vernon, you're saying? They would
Yeah, they
park the
could,
trucks on
they
Vernon?
could,
Yeah.
you know? And then again, a lot of times is where's the closest hydrant, you know? So it's not one of those things where that's typically been a concern, because of the way that it's laid out, because of the grid of the fire system that we have in Huntington Woods. And then right there, you're also across from the Rackham Golf Course, so you've got plenty of room. If they had to get in there and do something with the monster truck, they could. But again, it's a bungalow too, so the height on the house isn't that high. So it'd be unlikely that they would even do that with a ladder.
Is the intention to knock down the existing garage
Yes,
and then turn that back to green space?
yes.
That's all I have, thank you.
I was gonna ask about the stucco, but you answered that already, so, I mean, beyond that, I'm not weighing in on the variance. I mean, it seems fine otherwise, so let the ZBA do their thing, and we'll see if we come back or not. So I have nothing else.
Mr. Chair, just if it's the pleasure of the planning commission to put a motion for supporting this, I would suggest that they clarify in the motion the stucco and what's to be used, that it's not a foam board stucco.
Okay, I don't have any further questions. It's already been asked and answered. We'll open up to public participation and limit it to 2 minutes and just comments only. You can, if you can, or if you want to step up.
Okay, can you pull the drawing back up so we see the front of it?
Okay. I guess I stand here.
Yep.
Okay, my name is Shirley Malamud. I live at 10074 Ludlow, just east of them. And I am doing my best to age in place. And I just want to say I support them, I support their plans, and I hope that they do go through, because these people are wonderful in supporting me.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shirley.
Gail, did you want to see the front elevation?
I'm just asking that you move the
Oh,
slide up a little so we see the front of the house. Thank you.
Okay, so a site plan review, when the architectural plans under 40-7.03 require that all the elevations for the front, sides, and rear of the building, including all dimensions and locations of gutters and downspouts. I didn't see any gutters and downspouts on this whole project. And if you look at the actual checklist, I have not dug this archaic form up, this is on your website. It says, failure to submit all items and all information in this list will result in delay of application until it is complete. So it made it past the architect, it made it past planning and zoning. Are you gonna let this come forward with no downspouts on it? Also, when the, if the front elevation is changing, a drawing of the front elevation of the buildings on the site together with the elevations of the immediately adjacent buildings. I didn't see that either. So, you know me, I love downspouts, they're important. And so, my question is, I know you guys are looking at making changes to the code. How about following the code that exists? So, if you can see downspouts, show them to me. And then I hear there's going to be a drain in the back. If that is part of a stormwater management plan, shouldn't that be documented? Because that would protect the neighbors. And also, last comment, we'll talk about it later with other code changes. If you look at their survey, that was one of the most confusing ones I've seen, with all those squares all over the grades. I do recommend that you look at asking the architects to submit a consistent type of markings, so that you don't have to look, oh, how'd this architect do this one, how'd this do? You know, sometimes it's a dark circle for downspouts, sometimes it's a round, sometimes it's an X, sometimes it's a DS. But if you were looking for the same thing every time, you wouldn't have gotten this
Yeah.
far in the
Your 2
discussion,
minutes
not
are
knowing
up.
where it is.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
And any further questions or comments from the commission?
Quick question then, just to satisfy public participation. Do the drawings have downspouts in them and we're missing them?
They do not.
They do not. And then Hank, is that part of our regulations as it's written?
Typically, there's a few things. One, it also says that the zoning administrator or building official can waive requirements. We were satisfied with the grades as shown on the site. And then when there are downspouts put on with it, the building official at the end, when he makes his final inspection, will check which way they're going.
Any other further questions, comments? Okay.
Gutters? We have gutters. Yeah, I mean, we have gutters now. If we need to add gutters, it's not a problem.
Well, gutters are with them.
Okay, hold on, hold on.
Hey,
Comments come this way.
I'm not opposed to doing it. We have gutters now, and then, trying to drain stuff appropriately.
I can't imagine there wouldn't be.
Right.
So just to clarify too, from there's an existing drain in the backyard.
Correct.
That's not part of this project?
No.
Okay.
No, we're not
Just
trying to-
wanted to make sure I heard that right.
That's fine. I get
Yeah.
it. Talk more, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Where does it go?
It's a French drain,
Oh, is that the pea gravel or
Yeah.
whatever?
yeah, contained on their own property.
Okay.
Okay, any further questions?
Okay, I'll make a motion
Okay.
to approve the project as presented, clarifying the, subject to the ZBA's approval, and clarifying that the synergy stucco as described,
Is not a foam board stucco.
is not a foam board stucco.
Correct.
Yeah, we're not kidding it.
Don't worry, you're not.
You're consistent with what they're doing.
Do you have a
Second.
second? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
Would you like your plans back?
Thanks. Have a nice evening.
Mr. Chair, at this point, the only thing you have left is public participation.
Oh, sorry. Throw it up there for her.
Mrs. Malamud, thanks for coming tonight. It's nice to see you. Nice, good neighbor, it's nice to see good neighbors.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm just lucky to have you.
Well, they're lucky to have you too.
Okay, we will open it up to public participation, limit to 2 minutes, just comments only.
So I got a hold of, there were changes to the ordinances that went to the Environmental Sustainability Committee, and I have not seen any discussion amongst you since February, when you received the ordinances from Matt Zaluski. I haven't seen any public discussion, and these are some pretty significant changes that are being proposed. And, I'm going to reach out to some people I know on the Environmental Sustainability Committee and see if they really have an understanding of the stormwater codes. And what concerns me is making changes just to make changes without doing like an intent analysis, to do a needs analysis. What kind of problems, why do we even want to change them in the first place? And then I'm seeing changes like this permitted to flow is being removed, this protecting adjacent neighbors. I'm seeing prohibited connections. Connection to the existing storm sewer system will require additional review by Department of Public Works. Kevin Wayne already came up here and said, don't be doing that, prohibited connections. So the other thing I wanted to tell you, I FOIA'd Noack and Frause's contract, and it's been on auto renew since 2018. And they've been our engineers since, I think, the 80s, 40-something years. And I also talked to the Water Resources Commission. I said, what's going on with Birmingham and Royal Oak? They have these ballooning houses and shrinking yards. How are they managing stormwater? And she told me they're still having problems. And guess who the common denominator is? Noack and Frause. They oversee Birmingham, and at least they did when they did their contract. So I reached out to Noack and Frause because when they tell you, oh, when you sign up with us, you don't just get Brad Brickle, you have access to all these other professionals. So I called up to say, who's your expert on residential stormwater management? You know, there should be some sort of measurements going on, like, you know, they told you, well, you have a French drain. Okay, well, what was the capacity of it? Where were the downspouts going?
Time's
Yeah.
up, ma'am.
So I just hope you do a needs analysis, because you guys don't, you're like, you haven't really cared about it for 4 years on the master plan, and I don't want you just approving stuff because. oh,
Ma'am,
we
you're
need to change.
past your time now. Thank you. Okay. Close public participation. And
Motion to adjourn?
second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you all for